that time of the year. Welcome back, gamers, to another episode of our F1 2020 Driver Career Mode, episode number 15 today for the British Grand Prix. I'm Isolation Gamer 05. If you missed our previous video at the Austrian Grand Prix, then be sure to check that one out. A crazy scrap with Leclerc and Verstappen, ultimately for podium position, but with changeable conditions. It was indeed an amazing race. But like I said, it's that time of year again for contract renewal. And last episode, I promised that we were going to go for... if a team gave us an offer, we'd go for it. However, I would find out in driver career, I have to choose the team I want to go to if I want to go to another team. So I'll leave that for the end of the season. If we want to go to another team, I'll leave that up to you, and I'll leave those on social media and make sure that you can help me choose which team I want to go to. But ultimately, here we are. We're just going to sign up Alfa Romeo again. And because I'm a two-time race winner and I finished on the podium last race, considering also that I'm a consistent points finisher, I decided to go for the highest risk salary with $2.8 million. We'll see if they actually get through, but I have a feeling they will, because honestly, I'm exceeding all expectations. And there we are. We're signed for the rest of the season of Alfa Romeo. And like I said, next season, I'll let you guys choose which team I get to race for. But anyway, we purchased a perk with our added bonus, which will help increase our resource point allotment, which will be important considering, as you can see, our turbo durability upgrade fails. But it'll be ready for this weekend, thankfully. And we also buy a minor fuel efficiency upgrade for our engine, because on the fuel runs in testing, in the practice sessions, I just can't do them. But because it's only a 42% chance of failure if we rush it, we decided to rush it because we'll get it in time for Britain as well. But here we go as we advance to the timeline, and we're invited to an invitational event at Suzuka Short Circuit in the 1988 McLaren. The McLaren that gave Ayrton Senna one of his 3 world championships. So this is a lot of history, really fun, and I go and bin it on my first attempt. Honestly, I was very scared I was going to crash it. If I crashed it, all the F1 purists would want my head on a platter. Thankfully, there's a reset button. But anyways, I'm just going to shut up and let you all enjoy this glorious 1988 sound. That's our invitational event. Just 3 laps. We had to complete 3 laps under a certain time limit, and the car was really understeery, which goes to show how much downforce and aerodynamics have progressed in the last 30 years, 40 years. But anyway, here we are, back to our official car, and all our parts are successful. We get all our upgrades in, which is amazing. Great fun. So so that means, things are looking good for this weekend. And it's going to be a dry weekend. I mean, when was the last time we just had a dry race? And no rain. It's great stuff. But anyways, head to practice 1. P13, but we're doing a lot of long run pace. But I noticed Albon got transferred to McLaren and replaced Lando Norris. A prospect that honestly would seem ridiculous after how Lando has been performing this season. But if Red Bull got rid of him, then who replaced him? Why? I mean, honestly, the narrative is great. Kimi Räikkönen, the man whose seat we took at Alfa Romeo at the beginning of the season, retired, comes back in a top team. Great narrative, but why? If Red Bull wants longevity and someone to challenge Max Verstappen, Kimi's pretty much only going to be viable for maybe another season or so. So Red Bull really screwed up there, but anyway, because Albon went to a new team, we lost our rivalry with him, so we have to choose a new rival, and honestly, Leclerc was the easiest out of all of them, which goes to show how stacked our rivalry prospects were. But anyway, heading into practice 2, Albon showing really good pace in McLaren. But he's also on the softs compared to Carlos in the mediums. Romain Grosjean in the halves looking very pacey as well. And the Red Bulls not so much. But look at Verstappen. Verstappen practiced on the hard tire, and Kimi set his fastest lap on the mediums. So Kimi's not really showing that much pace. Can't say the same for us though. But heading into the third practice session, and Perez tops the timing sheet, which is crazy. And if you remember from when we were going in the team selection menu at the beginning of the video, Racing Point now is the second fastest car on the grid. I mean, they should. It's the pink Mercedes, essentially. But Perez could score another podium, as he did in Azerbaijan. But P2 for us, pretty good. Lewis Hamilton not looking very pacey in his home Grand Prix. And Raikkonen is way off his teammate on short-run pace. Going to show how bad Red Bull turned out. But at least Albon is keeping up with his new teammate at McLaren. But let's head into qualifying. And here we are, into qualifying, and for some reason the screens on my little onboard display when I'm in the garage changed sides. I don't exactly know why, but anyway, here's our custom setup for Britain, and as always, I'll leave a link in the description to the video from where I found this from. But as we go out for our first flying lap, and we're going to go through the iconic and very tricky Maggots and Beckett's corners, and oh my god, this is going to be an ongoing trend throughout this race, I'll tell you that right now. We just do not really do well on these corners at all. But anyway, at the end of our first flyer, P4. So the AI is looking very strong around Silverstone, and as we progress through the qualifying, we go all the way down to P7, and Kimi Raikkonen is just ahead of us, which sets intent. But we don't go out again, and so we just stay there. But man, I just can't, like, the narrative is there. Like, although I do believe that Red Bull pulled the stupidest decision in the world to sign Kimi Raikkonen over Alex Albon, to finish ahead of us in the seat that he used to occupy, man, that's a great narrative right there. But that being said, it says more about our capabilities in the car, that we finished behind one of the top cars, which is the Red Bull. And Gio, he's almost 6 milliseconds off of 15th, which is really depressing. But Albon does pretty well. I mean, P12, similar to his Red Bull qualifying in the latter parts of his stint with the team, but I mean, it's a McLaren, he has an excuse. But anyway, as he goes, first run of Q2, and Maggots and Beckett's pretty good, except at the very end. We take it really wide, and we sacrifice quite a few tenths there. So pretty much all the mistakes I make on the lap is around Maggots and Beckett's. But P2, we drop down to P3 immediately because Hamilton sets the fastest lap, and well, we do pretty well. But anyway, here's a new feature I didn't realize we knew. We could look at the times that the drivers on track are setting up, and oh, it's so weird seeing Kimi in the Red Bull uniform, racing overalls. But he finishes P3 ahead of us again. So the narrative is there. Kimi is trying to establish himself, saying, hey, you may have taken my seat, but I'm still the top dog over you in terms of skill. But again, it just shows how good we are, because we're keeping up with a Red Bull and an Alfa Romeo. In fact, the two Finns do very well in this practice session. Same can't be said for Max Verstappen, although he did qualify in the mediums. But one man who did get embarrassed is both Vettel and Albon, who doesn't improve on his Q1 time, and is still in P12, so he gets eliminated in Q2, sorry, which is to be expected. At least in a midfield car, I guess you can rectify that a little more. Maggots and Beckett's again giving us trouble, though it was pretty cleaner than our last take on it. And it just seems I'm showing the same clips again and again. But P3 for us. But I'm scared. I don't want Raikkonen to take a spot over us. I'm sorry I have this part muted because Jeff was just talking nonsense. But here we are. I'm going to show our best lap, our last lap. And I'm going to see if we can maybe snag P2 or get a better time than Raikkonen. Here we go, through Abbey now, towards Farm, heading through Village, the little heavy braking zone. A lot of good spots to overtake. And all these places have corners as we go through the loop. And all these corners and straights have names. Down the Wellington Straight, open the DRS. Great run, and another great place to overtake at the end of the Wellington Straight as we break into Brooks, heading through Woodfield, and then now we're going through Woodcote now. This is kind of like a double corner, going from a heavy corner where we have to hit the apex to a longer, faster sweeping corner. Now heading down the old start-finish straight at Silverstone, heading through Copse, which you just have to lift off practically, but you could take that flat out if you have good downforce. And now we're heading for the dreaded Maggots and Beckett's. But we've set a purple first sector, and we're making up a lot of time, but this run through Max and Beckett is pretty good. He says we go on the grass, heading out of Beckett's, through Chapel, and down the hangar straight now. Open the DRS, set up green second sector. So we're looking good to improve on our time, but will it be enough? We break into Stowe, and we're heading towards Vale now. Last corner will be Club, which is the last corner before the newly dubbed Hamilton Straight here at Silverstone. Here we are, Club's right up ahead. We've made up about a tenth, 2/10 of a second, crossed the line with 1/10 left.
Okay, good job, mate. Really
And we snag pole position. That's our third pole position of the year. So Alfa Romeo seems as though they're actually very happy with our progress to sign us. But look at the gap to the Mercedes. We're within a tenth of each other, which means that despite the fact that we snagged pole, Mercedes is looking very pacey. So in comparison to our previous pole positions at Azerbaijan and Canada, we're going to have a lot of trouble, a lot of difficulty ahead of us holding these two powerhouses off. Meanwhile, Kimi in P7. So take that, Kimi. And Perez, the man who showed a lot of pace, doesn't really finish where I think he should have. But let's head into the race.
Welcome along then to Great Britain and the Great Silverstone Circuit for today's Grand Prix. The 3.6 miles of the Silverstone Circuit in Great Britain is hallowed ground to the Formula One faithful. We have 18 corners that wrap around this former World War II airbase and some good passing opportunities at the end of the DRS zones. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's start with Alfa Romeo. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Skip lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Max Verstappen, and Perez, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Sainz, and Lance Stroll, Vettel, Albon, Esteban Ocon, and Gasly, Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Kevin Magnussen, and Daniel Kvyat. They've taken a grid penalty, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Okay, Jeff, I mean, it's going to be a difficult task, but we'll be sure to give it our best. But anyway, as you can see from the grid, Giovinazzi actually inherited P15 because Kvyat took an engine penalty, which is really depressing because basically Kvyat stole Gio's first Q2 appearance from him. But anyway, heading into the race, it's going to be a two-stop from a set of softs to a set of medium tires. Fastest strategy, and no rain to throw off the race. So basically, we're going to have to win this race on merit. No gimmicks to save us from those two Mercedes. But anyway, here we go to 5 red lights to the British Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go. And it's a great start from us off the line. We leave the Mercedes in the dust as we head into Abbey. And we're doing very, very well right off the bat. But yellow flag behind it, and there's a red dot of a Ferrari going off the track. Is that Vettel? I can't believe I just said that. But let's look at the replay. Let's see who it is exactly. And it's definitely Ferrari, but it's actually Leclerc that goes off. So let's see exactly what happens. Off the line, Leclerc looking pretty good, but he's immediately sandwiched between the Red Bulls of Max and then the Racing Point of Perez. And he just, similar to Austria, just gets pinballed, but this time gets punted off the track.
Come on! Puttana.
And there you go, kids. There's some French swear words for you. I didn't censor them because, I mean, the chances of someone actually knowing French and watching my channel is very, very slim because, I mean, no one watches these videos. But anyways, here we are, heading through Brooks and now Luffield, and Bottas is putting the pressure on. So we basically have to be setting perfect laps at the moment if we want to hold off this Mercedes and keep this position, which I don't think will be for very long because Bottas on the straights is just rapid, and they're going to have so much more downforce heading into the dreaded Maggots and Beckett's, feeling the pressure of the Mercedes behind us. We take it, the corners, and this is actually my best take of Maggots and Beckett's this weekend. So great job from us. And Jeff seems to recognize that as well. But heading on to lap 2 now, heading into Luffield, and we take the grass. We go way too deep into the corner, have a snap of oversteer, And now, basically, we're setting up for Bottas. Bottas, look at that rocket ship Mercedes behind us. They head out towards Copse, and Bottas just takes on the outside of the old start-finish straight. We go wide, and that's opening the door for his teammate Hamilton. We're not going to let this hometown hero get through us. But look at the downforce in that Mercedes. Dude, maggots. He basically forces us off the track. We rejoin at Beckett's. That was risky. But we did it. We actually got in front of Hamilton again. I mean, we did corner cut, but I think he did force us off the track a little bit. That was great. Finesse. And Hamilton's pitting. Why is he pitting so early? Oh no. Okay, maybe that coming back on the track wasn't as clean as I thought. But being distracted by Hamilton, we go kind of deep into the corner again, unsettling the car. And Verstappen's all on our backside, but thankfully into Abbey, we do block it off. But let's look at the replay, see exactly what happened with Hamilton. Here he goes. He kind of forces us off, but no, he actually doesn't. We just lose downforce, so we go wide. And we take his left front end plate off. That was entirely our fault. Hamilton didn't really force us. He just took the corner as he was entitled to, but we just sabotaged his race.
Nico hit me. That's not cool, guys.
Box, 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 box.
Yeah, that's like some Nico Rosberg tactics. But as you can see, actually, going deep into the corner, we actually unsettle the car, and we do kind of almost lose the back end. So that just makes it easier for Verstappen to try to pass it. He's on the medium tires as well, so he's going to be able to last longer than us on our softs. But down to lap 4, you can see how overcast it's become around here. It's very typical around Britain, and sometimes not uncommon to see some rain, but because it wasn't on the forecast, I'm not going to believe it. But oh man, we take Maggots and Beckett's very sloppy there. I think we're starting to feel a tiny bit of tire wear. Even if the rich mix makes any ERS, Verstappen gets some DRS, and he just passes by us into Chapel. We bang tires. Kind of aggressive from us.
Try to keep focus.
And Jeff basically trying to encourage us, but we're under immense pressure because that mistake has allowed Perez in the racing point to catch up. And if Verstappen could pass us in the Red Bull, then Perez in a racing point, which is better than the Aston Martin, than the Red Bull, I'm thinking of the title sponsor at the time, passes us. And we keep moving track limits as well. So great job by us to defend against the rapid Perez. But let's look at the replay. Look at Verstappen's pace. Like in that slipstream with the DRS. Like the DRS, he probably has rich and overtake on as well. But that's just a little bit extra DRS. It's just enough to get by us. And as you can see, running a very solid race. He didn't even notice the contact we make. And look at Perez. Perez is rapid as well. Look at how quickly, look at the overspeed he gains. He tries to go around us on the inside. But we brake a little later than him. And okay, maybe we don't keep it inside track limits like I thought. But as we head, there's yellow flags behind us. We head into Maggots and Beckett's on lap 5. And it seems like someone's gone off behind us. It's Sebastian Vettel. Vettel's out of the race.
A new strategy is available on the MFD. Okay, the safety car is out. The safety car is out. We need to form up at a reduced pace. Keep a close eye on that delta time. Make sure to keep it positive.
Basically, Vettel out and the safety car out. Our team's asking us to pit on to set a hard tire. So we're going on the alternate strategy, and I think it might work because we'll be able to stay out longer. And hopefully we'll be able to fend off other teams. So let's look at the replay. And Vettel just loses power heading through Chapel down and towards Maggots and Beckett's. So a terrible thing to hear from Vettel in the Ferrari. So showing that even in the game, his Ferrari woes are continuing as the engine just cuts out.
Stop the car now. Stop the car.
He's serious. Bring back the V12s.
Yeah. Oh God. Honestly, to break the reality, I hope Vettel sees some success with Aston Martin. If not this year, hopefully in the next 2 years, because man, that guy needs a break. But anyway, here we are into the pit lane, and the pit straight at Silverstone is very long. So it's going to be a very long pit stop. As you can see, we're just still going. We haven't even reached our pit box yet. We're passing through the midfield right now into our pit box for a set of hard tires, which hopefully will take us until the end of the race. But now the key thing is to keep these tires warm, because not only are the hard tires the hardest tires to bring up the temperature, but the overcast conditions are going to make the track conditions very cold. And under safety car as well, it's going to be very hard to keep these tires warm as we head back out onto the track in P16. But keep in mind, a lot of these cars still haven't pit yet, like the 2 Williams ahead of us. So we're going to have to be on it. And I mean on it, because I mean, as you've noticed, all our safety car restarts have been very terrible. We've been caught out. And if I get caught out by a Williams, let alone the Williams of Latifi, our fellow Canadian, I'm just never going to hear the end of it. So anyway, here we are. We're going to try and stay up the rear wing of Latifi, but our tires still haven't come to temperature yet. They're very cold, and we're ready to go racing again as we're approaching Club, and we're going to head down to Hamilton Straight to start this lap. The front runners dictate the pace, but we are very slow heading out of the last 2 corners, and Latifi jumps us, and we're embarrassed. Yeah, I got nothing. That was just terrible. But anyway, here we are. We're going to open the ERS and the Rich Maze. Ricardo is all up our backside, but we're catching up to Latifi. The slipstream is so powerful. We go very wide. We open the door a bit for Ricardo. We slam the door. We take our exit through Stowe very wide. But on the next lap, here we are. Gonna go right on the inside of Latifi, down the hangar straight, and it's easy moves for us. Very, very good. And now we're going to see if we can make the same move on Russell, down the Wellington straight on the next lap. Here we are, we're catching up with the DRS. We don't even have the ERS and Richmond, but oh, Russell locks up! We hit his backside, and we're just gone. We counter steer, and we save it. Great save from us, but not only do we lose the position to Latifi, but to Ricardo, Hamilton, and Perez, and we're last. Oh god. Thankfully, no damage on the front wing. Let's look at this replay. Like, the DRS gives us so much overspeed, and the slipstream down the Wellington Straight is so powerful. But you can see the tire smoke from Russell as he locks up, and he just closes the gap, and we just can't react to it in time. It's a miracle we didn't break anything on his car and ours. But there we go. We lose 4 positions in 1 corner because of one stupid mistake. And as you can see, man, like, it was a disaster. The fact that we're able to straighten that car again, pretty good from us, showing that we actually are inheriting some car control. And heading through, oh my god, through Village, we lose the back end on the curb. God. Man, this is just, like, I have no explanation. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe we just got Gio's car, who knows. I shouldn't say that. All our cars are the same. But anyway, as you can see, yeah, there's no excuse. Our front tire, we ride that sausage curb a little too much, and we just lose the back end. Because a combination of that and putting the power down too quickly. But as a blessing in disguise, everyone's pitting now, so we get P8. So we go from last to P8 because of everyone pitting on now. So that's looking pretty good. And even with an engine that's showing some signs of wear, we pass Latifi with ease on the outside down to Hangar Straight and into Stowe. We close the door. So great work from us, and I mean, honestly, very lucky that everyone pit at that moment, because with those 2 big mistakes, we could be seeing ourselves struggling to at least even get P10. As you go on the outside of Paris, down to Wellington Straight, into Brooks, on the outside. So great move by us on the racing point, and we inherit P5. Great work from us. And we set a personal best lap on lap 16. And look, Ricardo's in the podium position. So we finished the race now. He's gonna be 2nd place. But there's yellow flags ahead of us. Is Hamilton going off? I hope not. I mean, if Ricardo goes off, I'll just be depressed. Ricardo's going off. Please, no. Please don't. Please.
Virtual safety car. Reduce.
I have clinical depression. God. I mean, Daniel Ricciardo is one of my favorite drivers, and just seeing, oh god, I would have loved to see him on the podium.
Everything just cut out.
Okay, understood.
God. Thankfully, it's just a VSC, because so that we're able to keep our gap to Perez behind us. But now we're in P2 now on the road, so good stuff from us. But if you look in the background, you'll see that Valtteri Bottas is on the medium compound of tire, and he's setting fastest laps, which means he has a tire advantage, and he just passed Perez right now. So if the Mercedes is able to pass the Racing Point, then it should be very easy to pass that. So let's look at Bottas' replay. Look at the speed he's carrying through down the Hamilton Straight. That is just exceptional overspeed on the Racing Point, and those medium tires are gripping far better than our hards are right now. Here we are, heading down the old start-finish straight toward Cops. And we set a purple first sector. This is lap 20 now. So the race has just flown by after those first few laps of just crazy action. And Bottas is approaching us. As we head into Maggots and Beckett, hopefully we can hold him up. But look at the overspeed, look at the downforce, look at the grip he's had. And Bottas just swoops past us and just takes the racing line as if we weren't there. Meanwhile, we're just struggling to stay on track. And we lose that position. Jeff with some encouraging words to try and, motivate us, but there's no way we could have contended with that. Look at that overspeed, look at that speed. And Bottas just...
How about that?
Yeah, Bottas just schools us. And there's nothing we could have done there. Like, let's look real. Like, the Alfa Romeo, although we're really outperforming this car, because there's no downforce. Here we are into lap 24, the penultimate lap. And as we're just heading towards the end of this race, which has calmed down and we've cleaned up the mistakes, we look back and Verstappen's on the soft tire. And he's closing up on Perez. So, if he passes Perez, so if Bottas was able to pass us on the medium tire, then Verstappen on the soft, this is going to be a lethal combination. And look at the speed he has as he passes by Perez through Stowe. He could close the gap really quickly with all this clean air. So here we go, we've got to close him out. And as we head into Village, right now, we lose the back end again, which is going to lose time again. And this is a frantic chase to the end of the line. But here we are on the penultimate. Why am I sugarcoating it? There's no way Verstappen was going to catch us with that gap. As we head towards the end of the race,
Still we rise, guys. Still we rise.
Hamilton's won. So from P20 and me ruining his race, he wins his home Grand Prix. I mean, a podium finish is great, but you can't contend with that. Great result from Lewis Hamilton. I'm speechless, I just have no words. He deserves that driver of the day. My God. Great drive from Lewis Hamilton.
Plenty of action here at Silverstone. It was a memorable race, and what an impressive victory. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
Man, I just can't get over how good of a recovery drive that was from Lewis Hamilton. Like, even his AI in the game is just exceptional. Great recovery, honestly. I'm gushing over this at this point. And a good recovery drive from us, let's be honest. Although, like I said, a lot of luck on those pit stops to pass us. And basically, Hamilton and I, we switch positions. And we get P3. Verstappen does very well to contend behind us. And Perez, the man who I thought would have exceptional pace after the practice sessions, ultimately doesn't really follow through on it. But I mean, I guess that just goes to show how misleading practice can be sometimes. But I'll take P3. Leclerc actually also has a very good recovery drive after getting knocked out of the first lap by the two cars ahead of him. He recovers the P6. Pretty good. And Raikkonen, his best lap was a second behind Verstappen. So, I mean, yes, it's going to take some time for Raikkonen to warm back up to Verstappen's level, or warm back up to being in Formula 1 again, but again, I just don't see that. Like, I don't know what Christian Horner or Helmut Marko was on when he decided to sign Kimi. Great driver, no disrespect to Raikkonen, like I have to keep saying that, no disrespect. But considering what they're going for, it's just so stupid. But seeing Vettel broke my heart, and Ricciardo retiring broke my heart as well. Vettel and Ricciardo's retirements were just tragic. But Albon, actually, I've neglected Albon. From P12 to P10, he gets back into the points and is right behind his teammate, Carlos Sainz. So who knows, maybe Albon, all he needs is just a midfield drive. I'm hinting that, please bring my boy Albon back into F1, please. Oh, and Gio just stays in P15. But what do you expect? But anyway, thank you for joining me, and I'll confess I forgot to record what the drivers and constructor standings will look like. But here we are on the screen. Thank you, editing. But, yeah, we have a good start on our rivalry with Charles Leclerc, and hopefully these mistakes we made in this race will just be put behind us as we concentrate on the last 11 races of the season, 10 races now, and hope you'll join me as we go to Hungary next. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Share the love, share the video, and I'll see you next time. I'm Isolation Gamer 05. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.